Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live money news up here at Desawe in Kanda. My name is Alfredo Kansi.
I'm Natalie Ford. To look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Coalition of Textile Workers in Ghana gives government 1 month ultimatum to clamp down on pirated textiles.
Residents of Ablekuma Joman in Gan West Municipality live in fear after building close to explosive storage facility.
Also ahead this evening, fire sweeps through 12 apartments at new site in Takoradi, destroying property valued at thousands of cedis.
And Chief Fire Officer refers ruling to reinstate 2 officers who were sacked for getting pregnant to its legal team for advice.
And on the international front this evening, leaders of North and South Korea agree to work to rid the peninsula of nuclear weapons.
We'll bring you details of these and more together with some news and sports and entertainment also tonight here on News 360. Feel free to join us with your thoughts. Remember, the bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 279. To our first story this evening, the Coalition of Textile Workers in Ghana has given government a 1 month ultimatum to respond to their petition on a roadmap in clamping down on pirated textiles in the country. The group hit the streets in Accra to protest the continuous smuggling and sale of pirated wax prints despite the formation of a task force to check the menace.
The demonstrators, who were drawn from GTP, ATL and Printex, were clad in black with red arm and neck bands. They held placards with inscriptions, "Nanado textile companies are dying, save us. Seize and burn pirated textiles. Save existing factories before one district, one factory. This is not a change we voted for," among others.
Our message is very simple. There's an anti-piracy task force, which the companies together with government formed during 2010. And then its line of operation was that they should go to the sales points and the marketplaces to identify the pirated products and then seize them and get the people arrested and take them through the due process of the law. Already you have immigration officers, you have the security agencies who are manning the borders already, and they have their representative on the task force. So let the task force continue with its activities.
The procession, which ended at the former Accra House of Old Park, began from the Obra Sports to Adabraka and then the Central Business District. At the Hearts Park, spokesperson of the coalition, Michael Anglagman, lamented what they described as government's minimal interest in addressing their plights. The group has given government a 1 month ultimatum to respond to their concerns or they return to the streets.
We would address the issues raised, and then you would hear from us.
How soon should we be expecting that?
Within 1 week.
Receiving the petition on behalf of the Minister for Trade and Industry, Chief Director of the Ministry, Paddy Ajrako, assured the workers of a response in 7 days. According to the coalition, the textile industry, which once employed over 300,000, now employs 30,000 people.
Let's stay on this issue as the Coalition of Textile Workers wants government to reduce taxes on textile production in the country. The coalition, in a demonstration in Accra, said they are not able to compete with imported pirated brands because they are overburdened with taxes. Grace Hammer-Sari has the following report.
According to the demonstrators, local textile manufacturing companies have already sent home about 90% of their workers due to the high taxes and statutory levies, as well as high cost of raw materials, utilities and influx of pirated wax prints. Director of Communications for the coalition, John Abeka, says government should reduce the taxes to make them competitive. They want government to dispatch the anti-piracy task force to markets and other trading centers in order to seize and destroy the pirated textiles.
Well, let's just stay a bit further on this rather perennial issue. It's been going on for quite a while. Carlos Ahenkra is Deputy Trade Minister. He joins me on the telephone. Mr. Ahenkra, thank you for your time this evening. I suppose that you limited the operations of the task force to the Eastern Corridor because you wanted to deal with the source of these pirated textiles, how they're getting to the country. What's your assessment of the task force work after you limited the operations to the Eastern Corridor?
Well, thank you very much, and let me say a good evening to your viewers. The point is, the people who are actually well versed in this business of identifying where we can trace these smugglers, or where we can even locate the warehouses where they keep these smuggled textiles, refused to join the task force since May, when we set up the group. And for me, it's very disheartening, because the fact is, we see it as a national exercise. It's not an exercise for just textile workers. It's a national exercise which we are adopting to ensure the finality of this canker. And unfortunately, these textile workers think that they would have to dictate the pace, or they would have to determine what has to be done.
I get the point, Mr. Ahenkra. What I'm trying to find out from you is what your assessment of the work of the task force is after you limited its work or its operations to the Eastern Corridor.
That's what I said, that because they refused to attend the meetings, or they refused to attend the task force, the only money to arrest only about 270 bills of cloth so far. So it tells you that they could have even done better if these guys decided to join them.
I see. Though now that the task force is there, the immigration is there, the other security agencies are at the border, you still have our border still porous, because even though they're operating there, these fake textiles or pirated textiles still find its way onto the market. Shouldn't we be looking at a two-pronged approach where you're dealing with it at the roots, but also tackling the situation at the markets, where that's the end point of these pirated textiles?
So I'm happy that you've identified that all these people you mentioned are at the borders, that will still have these things coming into the country. It means that we will need a third force to ensure, or to help us curtail some of these porous nature of our borders, and see how we can stop them. But that notwithstanding, we do not restrict their activity only to the borders. We also said that they know where these warehouses are, because these smugglers, when they bring the clothes in, they don't keep them on the market, or they don't take them straight to the market. They take them to their warehouses and distribute them from there. We have asked that, as part of the terms of reference of the task force, they're supposed to identify suspicious warehouses, bust and collect cloth that they suspect to be pirated or counterfeited. So, saying that we have limited you to just the borders, where we have the immigration costs and so on and so forth, it does not actually align to the real meaning of what we are intending to do. And in actual fact, we are saying that yes, you go to the market, but eventually we are not seizing you entirely from going to the market, but we want to give you a reason for going to the market. So if you start from where we are asking you to start from, because we have gone round, spoken to everybody in the industry, and we've seen where the problem is actually coming from. So we want to ensure that before you get to the market, there's a reason. If you want me to give you an example of this reason, we have sat down with GRA, and GRA is supposed to enroll all textile manufacturers on the tax stamps program. So if we come to your market, or we come to your stall, and we see that there are any crop there who doesn't have any tax stamp, you have a question or some questions to answer.
So I'm just looking at it.
The ladies in the market will tell you when they come, they collect everything now, so including even kente cloth, and so on and so forth. And we don't want this to happen again.
It's getting to a point where even this cloth I'm wearing, I don't know whether it's fake or not. It's just so difficult to distinguish between the two. Over the period, the textiles companies in Ghana are collapsing, laying off Ghanaians, and it's been going on. We're talking about almost 90% of workers being laid off. There are many who have questioned the urgency and the commitment to deal with this problem over the period from previous to present governments.
Let me explain something to you. The total quantity of cloth or textile required by this economy or this country is about 120 million yards. The total installed capacity of all the textile manufacturers put together is about 30 to 40 million yards. So therefore, whatever you do, we will still need some cloth coming in. But we don't want them coming in and killing our local industries. As you saw the placards that they displayed, or as you heard the gentleman who spoke, they are not only even talking about the fact that it's the imported textile that is killing their business. There's so many reasons why they are not able to compete. Cost of capital, utility cost, and so on and so forth, which the government is looking at. As I speak to you, some of these textile companies have received or are on the verge of receiving stimulus packages, huge amounts of money, to just prop them up to start working again. The government is not sleeping. We are doing everything possible to keep the textile industry intact. But for the fact that you think that going to the market is what will solve the problem, we think that there's going to be a bloodbath, because the market women have sworn that if they dare come to the market again, for them to lose their capital, because sometimes when they come to the market, some of them lose their sales and they lose money in their store. We don't want this to happen.
Anyway,
so we are saying that if you want to go to the market, fine, but start from where we're asking you to start from. Then eventually, when we have everything sewn up, we will let you go to the market with a reason. And with that reason, we'll be able to identify those who are through unapproved routes. That's what we're asking for. We're not seizing anybody.
Right. Thank you very much for your time this evening. The most important thing is to deal with this problem and save jobs, Ghanaian jobs. That's Deputy Trade Minister Carlos Ahenkro there.
Well, let's turn to some other stories this evening, as about 6 families are counting their losses after fire swept through 12 apartments at new sites close to the Takoradi Technical University in the 2nd D Takoradi metropolis, destroying thousands of property. It took 4 fire tenders close to 4 hours to douse the fire.
According to a victim, the fire was alleged to have begun when she was informed about a smoke billowing from her room.
We saw that the house was in flames. So what we did was we shouted and we called people they should come and help us quench it. But it was still blazing, so we called the fire service people.
The fire then spread from her apartment to other rooms and cubicles close by. Furniture, personal effects, cooking utensils, home appliances, mattresses and other items were all burnt. The intensity of the fire resulted in deep cracks in some of the walls, leaving them at the verge of collapse. The ceiling together with the roofing of more than 5 rooms have been ripped off by the fire. It took 3 fire tenders from the Ghana National Fire Service and another from the Takoradi port close to 4 hours to douse the ravaging fire. When TV3 News got to the scene, the place had been cordoned off with the victims and some sympathizers seated around. Western Region Public Relations Officer for the Fire Service, Assistant Division Officer Emmanuel Ibobaini, spoke to TV3.
Most of them to use TNG, the plastic one, to do the sealing. So it's aid in fire spreading very fast. And those who didn't use the TNG were using card, and the card too the same. And the roofing, the asbestos. So when you are living in such environment, you need to be careful.
Now, the Ghana National Fire Service is to seek legal advice from the Attorney General regarding a court ruling on Thursday ordering the reinstatement of 2 officers who were sacked in 2014 for getting pregnant whilst in the service. The acting Chief Fire Officer, Eko Blanksing, says he has instructed his legal team to take up the matter.
On Thursday, the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court ordered the Ghana National Fire Service to reinstate 2 of its female officers dismissed for getting pregnant within 3 years of their enlistment. The service was also ordered to pay the 2 officers a total sum of 100,000 Ghana cedis and also pay all their salaries and benefits due them during the entire period they were sacked. The 2 fire officers were dismissed in 2014 after being discovered that they had taken seed within the first 3 years after joining the service, contrary to the service's condition of service. When asked whether the service will comply with the orders of the court, the acting Chief Fire Officer, Eko Blanksing, said his lawyers will handle the matter.
This thing resides in my legal officer. he has got the brief on that. So I have directed him that he should answer those queries. But we are seeing how best we can address the situation. It is before my legal officer and the Attorney General. I cannot say anything of the sort.
The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, has said it would sue the Ghana Fire Service again if it fails to reinstate the 2 female officers. Meanwhile, a 5-day management course has been organized for 60 fire officers. The course was aimed at improving their professional competence at the management level. Contingency preparedness.
In some other news, danger looms at Ablekumajoman in the Ga West municipality as private developers have encroached a buffer zone of a quarry site with no regard to the dangers involved. Now, Stanley Niblo reports residents have built near the main explosive storage facility.
The quarry site, now managed by Regimano Concrete Products, have been operational for the past 31 years. The area, earmarked as a buffer zone, has now been encroached by residents. What's more worrying is, houses and structures have been erected near where explosives used in blasting the rocks are kept. Ideally, settlers are to live 500-meter radius away from the blasting and the explosive storage sites, but that has been flouted. And although there are enough warning signs, they have been ignored. Some buildings are at the foundation level, and most homeowners here admit they do not have building permits, but claim legitimacy of their property.
We bought the land from the chiefs, so we asked for that one. Them is between them, they are chiefs. We don't have problem with them. Now the town have been developed. They have to locate.
This area is an extension of the Ablekumajoman community. Ideally, this is not a place for habitation, due to the constant hacking of rocks just behind me by use of explosives. But chiefs of this area have sold these parcels of land to private individuals, and they are being developed each day. Just as you can see far behind me, hundreds of such buildings are being constructed each day, and the occupancy of residents here could be very dangerous due to the explosives used here. Chiefs and elders, together with management of the quarry site, are unhappy with the development.
There's one community community.
We are ready to cooperate with the company, but the managers are adamant.
Managers of the quarry site claim they are doing their best to prevent any eventuality, but cannot guarantee safety of the residents.
The law says nobody should be here, and those who are responsible to look after the law, they are all here. They come here every day. And surprisingly, there is an injunction from court that nobody should be here.
Nobody should build here.
Not even build here. Nobody should be here because of the magazine. But people are building, living in. The police are here.
Municipal Chief Executive for Ga West, Clement Nilamte Wilkinson, opted for a dialogue among stakeholders.
The people have built. We, as a municipal assembly, we are not going to compensate them and tell them that move from the area. We are looking at documentation issues. If somebody has built here and the person doesn't have any documents, I mean, he has no right to do that.
Portions of the buffer zone close to the quarry site have also been turned into a refuse dump site. 3 years ago, a baby on the back of the mother died after being hit by a stray rock as a result of blasting of rock in the area. A similar situation occurred at Paibo in the Nsawam Adwajiri municipality when an explosive storage facility exploded, killing 1 person and destroying several property. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Joman, Ga West.
MTN video report. Moses Hoto reports from Nkwanta on the state of an underpass.
This is the underpass that has been constructed for Nkwanta Township, when the Eastern Corridor has been constructed from Pepesu to Nkwanta. The place, nobody is using it. The roofing, some of them have been removed. The bulbs inside the wiring has also been removed. Now that we are in the rainy season, you can see the inside where people are supposed to pass. You can see lorry tires. You can see water all over the place, and the authorities are doing nothing about it. This is Moses reporting from Nkwanta.
We encourage you to also send your video reports to us. It must be of national interest and of social relevance. The number is 0544-1433-044. That's the WhatsApp number you can send your video reports to 0544-1433-04. Let's find out how the weather will be throughout the night into tomorrow morning. All right, so apart from what you just saw, how the weather will be throughout the night, there's a weather warning that's just come through from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. So between now and 9 p.m., these areas, Yendi, Tamale, Salaga, Bimbila, Ketekrachi, and Dambai, there's a storm approaching, accompanied with also some strong winds and also some heavy rains as well. Between 6:30 and 9 p.m. GMT, Abetifi, Koforidia, Akimodan, Prang, Yeji, Atebu, and Mampong. All these areas will be experiencing some rains as well. Between 8 p.m. and also 10 p.m. this evening, Kintampo, Techiman, Ejura, all these areas also, those who are watching us and living there, or if you're traveling there tonight, make sure that you ensure you don't speed on the road, in order to skid off or involve in an accident. Those in those areas, please take cover as well. That's the weather warning coming through here. So live your news 3 back with some more news and business to stay.
I am Mrs. Benedicta Foley, the headmistress of Pope John Senior High School, established in 1958, is 60 years old and needed a facelift before the celebration. We wrote to a number of companies and Deluxe Paint came to our aid. Thank you, Deluxe Paint, for making Pojos glow. Vela Damos, we set sail.
New Deluxe acrylic paint with silver cover, better quality and durability.
The things that start off as dreams can build up to immense realities which benefit not only ourselves, but transform the world around us. Making a difference often starts with the small things, like our passions, and with the right support, those passions can become profitable. With people you can trust right beside you, achieving excellence is possible. Whatever your endeavor, you can come out ahead. For over 180 years, Republic Bank has set the standard for excellence in providing financial solutions that make a difference. Let's work together. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Nokia 7 Plus receives no less than 6 layers of ceramic field paint. Machined from a solid block of aluminium. 3 ultra-sensitive cameras with Zeiss optics capture every detail, front and back. Shows amazing detail on the 6-inch Full HD Plus screen with an impressive 2-day battery life. This is the new Nokia 7 Plus.
A baby is the best gift from God to mom. Soft care is the best gift from mom to baby. The soft cotton material gives the child maximum comfort. Enjoy free time. Enjoy happy time. Enjoy soft care time. Soft care, baby diaper. More care, more love. Soft care baby diaper. Best gift for baby.
Bye.
You're watching News 360. It's time for business. Good evening. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. The Africa Center for Energy Policy has criticized government for failing to use the mineral revenue to develop the country. At a forum in Accra, ASEP stressed the need for the enactment of mineral revenue management law to help address challenges in revenue disbursement.
The underdevelopment of most mining communities has been at the forefront of discussions in the management of the country's mineral revenue. According to ASEP, a mineral management law would maximize the benefits and further boost development. The Executive Director, Benjamin Boache, said the law would also guide the disbursement and utilization of revenues in the sector.
What we want to see is that we will have a structure that tells us where the money is going to, which projects are receiving the money, so that the accountability process is improved. Today, if I ask you, what do you know to have resulted from mineral extraction, you wouldn't know. Meanwhile, we're getting over 1.5 billion cedis annually from extraction of gold and other minerals.
He expressed optimism the enactment of the law would guarantee more efficient management and the use of revenues from the mining industry.
How do we ensure that we can track these revenues that are coming in, and to ensure that we also account for the interest of the future generation as well, because the resources do not just belong to those living today, but they're yet to be born. Do we consume all on salaries and not think about the future generations?
ASEP indicated revenues could be invested in the agriculture, health and education sectors.
And to trade now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association have welcomed the ratification of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. President of the association, Joseph Obeng, says the agreement will open up the Ghanaian economy and catapult Africa into industrialization. Leaders of 44 African countries have signed a deal to create one of the world's largest free trade blocs. The agreement was signed at a summit in the Rwandan capital, Kigali. It is hoped the deal will increase prosperity for 1.2 billion Africans, but 10 countries, including Nigeria, have refused to sign the deal, and it will need to be ratified by all the various parliaments of the signatory countries before the bloc becomes a reality. Ghana's parliament has, however, ratified the agreement after laying it and taking it through the necessary processes. Programs Officer at the Third World Network, an international research and advocacy think tank, Sylvester Bagoro, explained the implications of the ratification.
The best thing for us is to sequence the opening of African economies to some productive benchmarks. And so, take a country like Ghana. If you take about 7 of our products, they are mainly raw materials. If you take them out, then we have a few products that we're going to be exporting to Africa.
The agreement will create a single market for goods and services facilitated by the free movement of persons in order to deepen the economic interests of the African continent in accordance with the Pan-African vision. GUTA President Joseph Obeng has proposed government set up a committee to analyze and know how best Ghana can take advantage of the free trade.
Those countries or nations who will be skewed in their mind that, okay, now we are not going to pay duty for these things and all that, might think it's not good. But we are looking at the larger interest. If your country is industrialized and then everything is going on, you open up your economy and all that as against the duties that you trade among ourselves.
The African Continental Free Trade Area would remove barriers to trade like tariffs and import quotas, allowing the free flow of goods and services between its members.
Well, meanwhile, Trade Minister Alan Chemanting is confident the ratification of the Africa Free Trade Agreement would help expand opportunities for the export of value-added products by manufacturers and business executives, which would enhance the country's export earnings.
The implementation of this agreement will significantly expand opportunities for exports, value-added exports by Ghanaian manufacturers and business executives. And indeed, it will also enhance our export revenue earnings. Thirdly, it is worth noting, Mr. Speaker, that Ghana has made a formal offer to host the Secretariat of the Continental African Free Trade Area. And in this regard,
Away from trade now, and a banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etiahene, has warned that benefits from the recapitalization of banks will be short-lived if it is not supported by currency stability. At a governance and banking lecture in Accra, he argued the speedy depreciation of the local currency would nullify the gains from recapitalization. Banking industry is feeling a lot of pressure in today's changing market. With the takeover of UT Bank and Capital Bank last year, the negative capital adequacy of Unibank, and the central bank shutting down some microfinance companies, the central bank has come under pressure to act on its mandate. Speaking at the April session of Accra Speaks, banking consultant Dr. Etiahene called for strict enforcement of prudent banking regulatory practices.
The microeconomic instability, we've heard about it over and over again. They talk about high deficit, budget deficit, they talk about inflation, but what we haven't talked about is the currency depreciation. There must be a concrete effort. We should manage the currency so that in the next 10 years, I will not be sitting here to tell me to bring more capital.
He says standards within the Ghanaian banking sector are falling and identified poor corporate governance practices and regulatory practices as major cankers affecting the sector.
Ineffective board practices, dormant board committees, overbearing CEOs and the board chairmen. One of the outcomes have been poor and weak risk management practices, failure of corporate governance, and poor and weak and lax supervision. Combination of the two. That is what we have today.
Dr. Etiahene warned that a delay to sanitize and control the activities of banks and financial institutions in Ghana will lead to systemic failure. Now, the civil service says it has begun a series of activities aimed at rebranding and repositioning the service to promote efficiency. At performance agreement and awards ceremony in Accra, head of the service, Nana Ejekum Dramina, noted the rebranding agenda will enable the service again or regain a positive image to facilitate the country's socio-economic goals.
Head of Civil Service, Nana Ejekum Dramina, also expressed worry about unauthorized use of the ministerial enclave as a thoroughfare. He said the service would collaborate with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly to decongest the area and also improve upon security.
There are so many people hustling, directors, ministers left and right. People hawking, taxi drivers, truck drivers come. You won't find that in any country.
Secretary to Cabinet Mercy Deborah Kakari, who represented the Vice President, challenged civil servants to come up with innovative ways of overcoming inadequacy of resources. The Chief Director of the Roads and Highway Ministry, Godwin Brooke, who was adjudged the best performing Chief Director in 2017, said the performance management systems promotes teamwork.
May we as Chief Directors continue to collaborate and support each other to deliver the services required to attain the goals set out for our national development agenda.
Other speakers at the event agreed regular training would equip civil servants with relevant competences for efficient performance of their duties. The performance contract for the year was signed by ministers and their chief directors.
All right, so there's more news on 3news.com. That will do for business tonight. My name is Nanekia Mensah Brampam. Alfredo Kansi has more.
Thank you, Nanekia. Now, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations is to soon file legal suit against employers in the private sector who default in paying daily minimum wage. According to the ministry, its investigations indicate that some employers are not paying the 9 cedis and 60 pesos to their workers. The suit is expected to be filed through the Labour Department of the ministry to deter employers from doing so this year.
The daily minimum wage is the least amount that employers are to pay their employees. In 2017, the wage was pegged at 9 cedis 60 pesos, which some argued as woefully inadequate. For this year, 2018, the tripartite is yet to agree on the wage. However, the Labour Department of the Ministry of Employment has identified some employers who are not paying. The department says it will secure legislative instruments to gazette the payment of the minimum wage. This, the department is confident, will impose obligation on employers to pay the amount. That notwithstanding, the Assistant Chief Labour Officer Andrews Obidiaba warned the unit will not hesitate to deal with employers.
We have realized through our reports that some employers are paying below national minimum wage. What we do is that we put them their toes, we go there to make sure that they do the right thing. I think the minister has made it very clear that those who are found to have been paying below the national minimum wage will be dealt with.
To mark this year's Health and Safety Day, the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union ICU is calling on employers to provide tools for employees to work. The leadership of the union again assured of engaging with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority to deal with employers who have failed to pay the second-tier pension scheme of workers. Its Deputy General Secretary Morgan Ayawene again warned against casualization at the workplace.
When you are working, anywhere, you are not safe. You may think that you are safe, but, trust me, one day you will wake up and then you have no job if we don't start this fight. And it is not only for trade unions, those who are even outside the trade unions must join, the fight.
Greater Accra Regional Secretary of ICU, Thomas Atia, implored members to report to the leadership about poor working environment.
Personal health and safety to mark it. And then this talk that is coming is to enable us, empower our membership to be able to fight this work-related hazard that is at most of the companies.
The Health and Safety Day is celebrated as part of the activities marking this year's May Day celebration.
Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says government is in the next few months will introduce or procure adequate logistics to assist Ghana Armed Forces deal with illegal armed trafficking and terrorism. The Vice President was of the firm belief this will strengthen the peace and stability of the country and also increase public confidence in the military. He was speaking at the graduation parade of the Special Medical Intake 4 for this year in Accra.
In all, 114 officers joined the medical corps of the military. Civil medical doctors, 4 dental officers, and 33 general nurses. 10 had training ophthalmology, 8 lab technicians, and 4 public health officers also joined the military. These officers are expected to assist senior medical doctors at the 37 military hospital, including other allied health posts. 3 of the officers who excelled in academics were awarded the Commandant of the Military Academy Prize, Commandant Prize, and the Chief of Defense Prize. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia praised the diligence and hard work of the newly recruits into the military setup. He assured the military of government's resolve to provide adequate logistics to deal with terrorism.
Well accommodated. As the country finds itself in the midst of security threats as illegal arms trafficking and terrorism, government is committed to equipping the Ghana Armed Forces with the necessary logistics support and training to boost its operational efficiency to meet emerging challenges.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, again reiterated government's commitment to deal with the accommodation challenges of the military.
Work has already started on the barracks regeneration projects and the President wishes to assure you that the momentum will be maintained to ensure that all service personnel and their families are well accommodated.
Meanwhile, he has lauded the leadership of the military for enrolling its civilian staff on the National Health Insurance Scheme.
The High Command is making efforts to enroll all service personnel, civilians as well as entitled dependents on the scheme in order to improve health delivery at the various military health facilities.
Earlier, the Vice President, Dr. Muhammad Baumia, inspected a Guard of Honor mounted.
You're watching News 360. Coming up next is some sports news with Thierry Nan. Stay with us.
Treating pain and fever in babies and children, make no mistake. Eponol is manufactured by Ennis Chemists Limited, available in pharmacy shops. Eponol, happy baby, happy mom. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
You're Bema. Oh, yeah. You're Bema. You're Adrian, and you're Adrian. You're Wonko. And you're Maggie Mo Uncle.
And real tasty shrimps and Maggie Mo Uncle makes that clear difference in delicious meals. Get real Maggie Mo Uncle taste.
I love this Monko taste.
It's not Mo Uncle, it is Maggie Mo Uncle.
With Maggie, every woman is a star. Nestle, good food, good life.
Oh.
Stomach pain. He's got flu.
Come, you two.
Both of you.
Both?
The illnesses are different, but the problem of both is the same.
Same?
Germs. When germs go from hand to mouth, they cause illnesses like stomachache. And when germs go inside the nose, they cause illnesses like flu. The symptoms are different, but the protection remains the same.
New Lifebuoy with Active Natural gives 10 times better protection from infection-causing germs.
Even on those nights I sleep worry-free with Always Ultra. It has a soft, light cotton top layer and gives you 3 times better dryness. No stain, no check for 2 hours. Good night speed, good morning energy. Good times with my family. Good morning energy, good morning energy. I stay fresh and lively with Always Ultra. Stay happy always.
Sports segment is brought to you by
It's Friday. Good evening and welcome to News 360 Sports segment right here on TV3. My name is Thierry and we are starting off the Ghana Premier League. Match day 10 is upon us and there was one game played today. It was between the Jonah Stars, the league champions, the title holders against Brekum Chelsea. That game was in Doma and they were trailing by 1-0 until late in the game when they pulled it back, equalized, and of course it ended 1-1. Now some other fixtures you should expect in match day 10 is Bichem United. They'll be playing against Kerala United. Kerala really high flying this season. Newly promoted, but they're second on the league log. Beware. Liberty Professionals have a terrible form to go with, but they are also facing another side who are actually the poorest this season. 5 points after 9 games. Wild Stars. Inter Allies against Ibusua Dwarfs. There is Wafa versus Dreams FC. We'll also have Elmina Sharks against 11 Wonders. Mediama Sporting Club will be playing against the league leaders Ashanti Gold in a very big clash. But of course, the biggest of them all will be Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Folk. But is it even big anymore? Former Hearts of Folk star Sam Johnson says his former club and Kumasi Asante Kotoko are no longer the clubs they used to be because of some mismanagement ahead of their meeting in Kumasi on Sunday.
It's not only for the playing body, it's from the top. And I'm sure some people are there, they don't do their job very well. Because a team like us, this kind of thing is not supposed to happen. Favoritism is there. Like going to get the player who is ready to play Accra Suffolk, who want to play Accra Suffolk, who have the heart to play Accra Suffolk. Not because, oh, he's good. Oh, he's Sam Johnson's player, so Charlie, he player, so let put him there. The guy is good, but maybe it will take 3 or 4 years before he can mature and play for Accra Suffolk. Has don't need such players now. So like Polo was saying, if they bring, and the big men don't change their mind and do what is right, we can even bring Mourinho, Ferguson, all the big coaches together, nothing will change.
Sam Johnson is a Black Stars, former Black Stars international, that is. But let's move on straight to this man, Andres Iniesta. What a legend. Barcelona star Andres Iniesta will leave the Spanish club at the end of the season. The Spain midfielder has made 616 appearances in 16 seasons, winning 31 trophies with Barcelona in 3 major tournaments for Spain. Iniesta, who has been linked to a move to the Chinese Super League, has not said where he will play next season, despite several links linking him to a particular club. Now, let's remind ourselves of why he is one of the accomplished midfielders in history. Right here on News 360. My name is Thierry Nyan. I'll see you some other time.
My fabrics, my pride.
Top on the news on the international front this evening, the leaders of North and South Korea have agreed to work to rid the peninsula of nuclear weapons after holding a historic summit. The announcement was made by the North's Kim Jong-un and South's Moon Jae-in in South Korea after talks at the border.
The two also agreed to push towards turning the armistice that ended the Korean War in 1953 into a peace treaty this year. The summit came just months after warlike rhetoric from North Korea. Speaking at a banquet after Friday's talks, Mr. Kim hailed the progress he said had been made. Details of how denuclearization would be achieved were not made clear, and many analysts remain skeptical about the North's apparent enthusiasm for engagement. An issue for the North is a security guarantee extended by the U.S. and nuclear power to South Korea and Japan as its military presence in both countries. Previous inter-Korean agreements have included similar pledges, but were later abandoned after the North resorted to nuclear and missile tests and the South elected more conservative presidents.
Now let's just touch on this briefly, as this meeting between the two leaders is a pretty historic one. No North Korean leader has ever stepped foot on South Korean soil since the Korean War in 1953. I'm going to run us by some key highlights of the meeting. The leaders discussed pushing for four-way talks involving the United States and China and organizing a reunion of families left divided by the war. This is a pretty key issue which has touched on the hearts of many North and South Koreans. Connecting and modernizing railways and roads across the border, which is going to have economic implications on both North and South Korea, and further joint participation in sporting events, including this year's Asian Games. So it's a pretty remarkable move there. We'll be looking forward to see what happens between both the North and South Korea. Next on News 360 is some entertainment news with Miriam Osei Ajaman.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
Hello and good evening. Thanks for staying with News 360. Let's do some entertainment news. And tonight the focus would be on the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards celebration jams. Organizers of the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards Charterhouse has put together for this year's celebrations concert a tight team of some of Ghana's finest musicians. But what has the experience been for the celebrations night? Here's a throwback of this event.
Jehovah, 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 Jehovah. I'm going to have my soul, yeah. Oh, yes. Amen, yes. Takoradi, let me hear you say, if you go, I go to shocky for my God, I soto for my God, I go shokoto for my God.
Lots of top artists have graced the occasion with thrilling performances since the inception of the VGMA Celebrations concert. This year's concert will see Takoradi, Samini, Miss V, Joyce Blessing, Kwame Eugene, Kiddy, Kwesi Arthur, Krell Songs, B for Bona, Stoneboy, Strongman, and a lot more mount the stage and are expected to put up amazing performances. The VGMA Celebration Jams will certainly be a music concert to be remembered for a very long time.
Every girl want a man from foreign. Madaracheka who she a power with. Them tired of the bread and sardine. One always carry magic.
And so you can expect that the anticipation is high ahead of the 2018 Celebrations Jam. We're a couple of hours away because it's just tomorrow and it's the official post-VGMA party. It will headline some of Ghana's finest music arts. Some music enthusiasts have been sharing the expectations ahead of tomorrow night's Big Jam.
On Saturday, 28 April at the Independence Square, 7 p.m. sharp.
It's a nice
platform to give Patapaa the chance to perform this time round. Make sure the guy feel at least he's been involved in everything, because he thinks he has been excluded from the show itself.
And Patapaa, because after the whole VGMA Awards night, these little controversies that came up, the fact that Charterhouse has been able to resolve it and still have Patapaa on board, I think it's a great thing. If I had the power to bring one more artist to the stage, it would definitely be Shatta Wale. Then it's about time they reconciled, and the biggest way they can do that is to have him on their stage.
And Patapaa should be out and Shatta Wale should be inside. I don't know what songs Patapaa has performed that they added him to a performance like VGMA Jam Show. So they should take Patapaa out, add Shatta Wale, and the jam will be very nice.
I would like Shatta Wale on it because there's no celebration jam without Wale. Wale, they give you all the bangers from like 5 years ago. So if there's no Shatta Wale, there's no celebration jam. Me, I don't go understand. Then for bring Shatta Wale.
Takoradi on stage. I totally love Takoradi. Takoradi is a senior musician. We all love his stage performances, and he's actually at the max, like he's there. So definitely Takoradi. And then one more person to Patapaa, J. You know what's up here.
See Patapaa because he's currently the talk of the town. Everybody's talking about him, his downfalls and his ups and downs. So I want to see him on stage.
For me, I would want to see Shatta Wale on stage. I'd want to see Shatta Wale on stage.
Takoradi, he's just a demigod. He's a stunner. I just can't say much, but then words can't explain Takoradi. Yeah, he doesn't even deserve the Ghana stage. The guy is just best.
Well, it's pretty obvious that quite a number of people want to see Patapaa, aka Patapeezy, back on the stage, but maybe not on the Celebrations Jam, but sometime soon, maybe on the stage near you. My name is Miriam. That's about it for entertainment here on News 360. Have a lovely evening. Going back to Natalie and Alfred.
Yeah, Thanks so much, right. People love Patapaa.
Yes.
The talk of the town.
The part to puzzle.
Now, I love the Aquaba track. You know, even though he sang this much.
I never knew his section was so small.
Please, let's spare ourselves on this thing. Come on. But I want to say thank you so much. My name is Alfred Akansi. On behalf of the team, we're grateful.
And I'm Natalie Force. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. News at 10 simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely evening and an incredible weekend.
We'll be here in the time of